Hey everyone, welcome to Pastor Play. So we have Queen Sugar, Season 7, Episode 12, titled Be and Be Better, currently streaming on the OWN app and also on the OWN channel. So we open with Aunt Vi and Hollywood getting the final inspection of their home, and they do end up getting approved to be foster parents in the state of Louisiana. Aunt Vi, she ends up meeting with the distributor who's going to mass produce her pies to sell at stores with the contracts. However, the recipes are off and the kind of pie sample tastes are off too, because Aunt Vi, she alleviates from using a recipe, by making it by muscle memory. And the sample that they give her for one of the pies, she's like, it needs cinnamon. And the distributor lady's like, but that's not on the recipe. And she's like, I gave you the recipe, but I've been making pies, forever. And I don't really go by recipes, which is how my grandma was too. They just know how to make it from scratch. They just know they know the ingredients to use, but they don't necessarily use, measuring cups and things. They just know they just know what to do. They just know what to do to make what they want, and Vi's like, I I gave you a recipe, but I don't really use a recipe. It's like, again, it's like muscle memory. But, the lady's like, that's fine, we'll work on it and we'll do it again. And they also show and by the mock-ups of how the pie boxes are gonna look. It looks really nice, very reminiscent of how Patti LaBelle's pies look, with her like face holding the pie like to the top, to the left or right, and then they got the circle of kind of like the pie in the middle, like, clear cut out where you can see it in the box. But it looks really nice. And then we go to Hollywood is moving forward with campaigning to be on the school board. And he gives a very moving speech at the debate with his opponent, talking about how he didn't finish high school because basically he just kind of got overlooked by his teachers. He was struggling. He had to help his mom at the time, who lost her job. So he started working, and he just kind of fell through the cracks. And he gives a very moving speech either way. Then we go to Nova, who's still processing the death of Aunt Martha, but she is supported by Dominic and Ralph Angel. And then later on, too, in the episode, she hosts a party to meet Dominic's colleagues that he travels with, when he's been gone away, for weeks and months at a time. But at this party that she hosts, Dominic gets offered a 16-month opportunity to go dig in Africa, and he asked Nova, would she come with him? But Nova says her path is there in Louisiana, and that Dominic's path is taking that opportunity because it's something that he's always wanted to do. He gets to kind of be part of this like international dig thing in Africa. So they end up breaking up after that, unfortunately. And it ironically too, in this episode is when they were just kind of getting over the hump of him, like, going through her laptop and reading kind of like her personal thoughts. And it seems like they were kind of the coming around to the end of that, and then this opportunity comes up, but she doesn't want to take him from something that that he loves. And at the end of the day, she just feels like being in Louisiana is where she needs to be with her family and all the things that she's working on. So unfortunately they break up, but they both agree that more or less it is the best thing for them, because he'll be gone for over a year again. And that's just a long time. Some people would make it work, but after this last stretch of time, it just, it seems unfortunate. But who knows, maybe they'll get back together. But and two, she ends up going back to Aunt Martha's farm, Nova, and she has this ceremony with women from, from Martha's kind of community in that area of her friends, to celebrate Martha's life and spirit by doing kind of the ceremony where they're dressed in all white. Kind of, I guess, like releasing her spirit, kind of a thing. That was really nice. And then we go to Blue, who comes home and surprises Ralph Angel. He spends time with the family. He's getting bigger and taller. they take him down to the sugar mill to kind of see the process of, them kind of updating that property and everything, the factory. Um, and they also have a scene where Blue is talking about, how he misses his grandpa, Ernest Bordelon, and Ralph and Ralph Angel and Blue. They kind of talk about that and kind of this time that they spent with, Ernest, as Ralph Angel as Ernest as his dad, and then Blue with Ernest as his grandfather. Um, that was a nice scene. And Dollar and Ralph, they're still kind of at a standstill on whether or not to tell Blue about, Chase being his biological father, but they are trying not to fight about it anymore. They're trying to kind of get over that because, they both have their own opinion about it. They also have this nice scene where they kind of, where your kids kind of stand against the side of like the wall, and you kind of put the little pencil or pen of how tall they are. And so they do that with Blue, and they also do it with Baby True, which is really cool. And that's kind of it with, I mean, for the most part. They do come back a little bit later with Ralph Angel and them, but then we go to Micah, who's talking to Kiki, and basically he realizes that New York may be where he wants to kind of be and live. He feels like he can thrive there, and he can also still work on the collective. He doesn't have to be physically there in Louisiana to work on the collective. But he says, he kind of felt uncomfortable in New York, but but in a pushing him kind of way, where he felt that he could kind of rise to the occasion, and he feels like New York may be the place for him to be, to grow, as an artist. And he ends up getting offered the position of East Coast artist coordinator, um, at the Law Enforcement Accountability Project, where basically they match artists with projects that amplify police aggression in New York. Micah lets Charlie know about the job offer in New York, and that he would drop out of Xavier, his college, but Charlie's not sure that that's the right decision for Micah's future, and she just hangs up on him, saying, they will talk later. She feels like Charlie feels like Micah's making a rash decision, but Micah's like, no, this is just. I feel like in my heart, this is the best thing for me. I don't need your permission. I'm not a child anymore. But again, they're kind of at a standstill, so we'll see where this ends up going, kind of in the next episode. Micah is an adult, and maybe they can kind of find some compromise at this point. His parents are paying for his schooling and everything. So if he moves to New York, he can't stay with his grandma, who has, a house, or who lives out there. But at the end of the day, he can always transfer to a school and, to a college in New York, and maybe finish up the rest of his degree, or take some online courses or something, kind of compromise just to get the degree. It's always good to have the paper. I mean, since he's already started, if he had never went to school, I guess I would get it. But if he's already, halfway through or whatnot, I mean, I would just say, just finish it. Finish what you start. He doesn't have to do it right away, but maybe he could take a year off to kind of get acquainted with the job, and then maybe, take some online classes or something. But we'll see what happens. And then this episode 2, we go to Billy. She does plan to move back to Chicago after this Landry case kind of thing is over. Her and Vince did, kind of reconcile. So she does plan to move back. And then Prosper and Sandy, they're just adjusted to married life. Sandy is kind of redecorating the house, kind of making it, her own, as well as Prosper. But Prosper has to compromise because she starts kind of, she started adding the touches of who she is to their home. So she lets Prosper keep his like rocking kind of, his reclining chair or whatever. So it's not too bad, but he's adjusting as well. And then we go to like the highlight of this episode to me, where Landry, he ends up getting evicted, and the sheriff's office, they come in and they start moving his possessions outside on the lawn, like he had with Parthena a couple episodes back, where they just come in your house and just, saying basically you're evicted, and they start going in and putting your stuff out on the line. And Landry's land, it ends up getting seized in the USDA scandal of bribery, because he was bribing the USDA loan officer, banker, or whatever, to keep extending his loan and not making any payments on it. And in the words of Lizzo, about damn time, the rooster has come home for Landry, and he is finally getting a little bit of taste of his own medicine. Um, Ralph, Angel, and Dollar, they come up there after getting called by Prosper, and Billy's there also. And Ralph Angel basically yells across to Landry, because they're like a ways away. They're like in a, kind of like on the outside of the property. But Ralph Angel lets Landry know that it was the border loans and the black farmers that basically helped him get evicted. Um, and in this episode, they do tell you that in 2 days, they're going to do a auction on all of Landry's land, which includes the Borderlands farm. And basically, Prosper, lets the black farmers know that they need to try to band together and try to get that property. So once it goes on auction, they're going to try to see if they can hopefully, get that land. And a lot of the land, they said the Landrys had stolen from the black farmers, in the past anyway. So hopefully they can maybe get that land back. Of course, Landry does have friends with a lot of money, and he knows people in high places and whatnot. So he will probably try to use that to his leverage to try to get that land, have somebody that he knows buy it and then pay them back later or whatever. So we'll see that probably in the next episode. Last time I checked IMDb, there's 13 episodes for this season, so this is the last episode before the series finale. So we'll see how they end the series. Assuming it's still just 13 episodes. So I'm still assuming that next week is the last episode of the series. So I did like this episode. I thought everything was good. They also do show that Micah and Kiki kind of have a moment where maybe they'll get back together. But in the last episode, it showed that he was it seemed like him and, that investor Ray kind of had maybe a little bit more than just business kind of a thing. So who knows where that's going to go? Is he going to stay with Kiki, or does she come to New York? What ends up happening with Micah? Does Blue and does Ralph Angel and Dollar tell Blue about his biological father? We still haven't really seen Charlie and Micah's dad. I can't think of his name right now. And Micah's dad. So we haven't really seen them really most of the season. I think maybe were they even, you hear them talking and different things, but we haven't actually physically seen them really. So maybe they'll come back for the last episode. We'll see what happens with the Landrys. Will the black farmers and Ralph Angel be able to, to get this property back? Hopefully, and by in Hollywood, they may finally meet, their new foster child. Either it's going to be a boy or a girl. Nova and her still dealing with Martha's death, and different things of that sort. We'll see kind of where all these stories kind of will end and land. They may end up doing some kind of time jump too. But either way, we will see. If you like this review, hit the like button. If you have any comments below, comment below. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed so already. Other than that, I'll see you next time. Bye.